Hello everybody, this is Simon with some more Dark Souls 3. Today we're going to look at a side area and see what the hammer can do there. Nobody has commented on Smaug's hammer, so I'm going to hold off on my decision for another weapon for a while. I mean, it's not like Wards has proved us any wrong so far, it's just that I like variety. I've plopped this down here. As I said before, you very obviously need a gesture here, and this guy is even showing you which one. Yes. This is actually really helpful with the only mimicry required ahead. Good job, my friend. The thing is, as I said the first time, I've tried all the different gestures ahead, all of which were like sitting down style, but you have to actually exactly have Path of the Dragon and nothing else. And only if you do that here, then it will work. It is a bit of a shame in my opinion, but I can get what they're going for. It's just you can waste a lot of time trying different gestures. Anyway, let's skip this and go to our highly optional yet highly lucrative secret area. One of the two reasons for why we killed Osiris, who himself is optional, hiding another optional area. Fun stuff. I've always liked how this area looked, especially in comparison to everything else in the game, because it's so bright and cheery. However, that does not mean that it is easy, and I appreciate that contrast, I guess. We're going to explore this castle, which is a bit similar to other castles that are just plopped down somewhere in the games. Basically, I guess, reusing stuff which they wanted to do but couldn't find a place for in the main game. So I guess a bit like the Painted World or Cainhurst and Bloodborne, which is perfectly fine by me. Better than them not including it at all, I think. The enemies here, as we just saw, are not a big problem for wards, but what is, am I right? And the lucrativeness, which I've hinted at, is already starting, seeing as we get one of the rare infusion gems here. Pretty useful considering that this place is associated with dragons. Not as useful once you realize what the boss actually is, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Don't think I've ever noticed the moon there. Can't contemplate it too much. Also, I never, when I first played the game, really noticed that there is an elevator shortcut which has to be opened here at some point. This is entirely due to the fact that you can miss the other end of the shortcut rather easily. Come on, man. And that plays into it being almost completely useless. But again, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. This beginning part can be rather brutal if you arrive here with less fine-tuned weapon and I guess overcharged is a better word for it, and less health, because, you know, these guys deal quite a lot of damage and can overwhelm you rather quickly, and they are placed in rather nasty ambush situations. Also, you really have to close the distance with the ranged attackers here. You don't really have another choice, and then you basically are forced to run into an ambush all this time. I think the homeward bone is rather hilarious because it's like telling you, you know, you can't escape from here unless you use a homeward bone. If these guys here are proving too hard for you, you can always bone out if you want to. I'm not judging you, but of course you might already have glimpsed it. If you can make it through this first ambush, which is one of the harder parts of this level already granted, then you find a bonfire right here, and now you can escape rather quickly. It is about similar vein as the bonfire slash lantern in the Yahagul dungeon jail, Hypogean jail, I guess, in Bloodborne, where you first get abducted to a new area and then have to find your way out through some somewhat tough enemies And I know a lot of people who are posting in the Bloodborne thread being like, I just got jailed and now I don't know how to get out, and these sec guys keep killing me, which I'm pretty sure is the exact intended reaction and the developers wanted you to have. It's pretty funny nonetheless. And I appreciate the panic it causes in this case. Again, it falls a bit flat, but because usually if you can beat Osiris and get here, either you know exactly what you're doing, so it's no longer a surprise, or you should be able to deal with these things. Anyway, I don't think I've ever walked through this doorway before going the other side, because it is rather obvious that there is a path here. You know, there is an item and then you have stairs, so let's just see what happens, right? Nothing? Well, that's disappointing. I thought I was going to get ambushed. Unless it means be wary of up, that I actually should realize that there is a way to go up. I don't know. It's rather weird. Maybe they realize that this is barely a trap, barely a secret, because it is quite obvious that you can go up here. Especially if you took the other way in Dothric Castle and actually saw that you can do a similar thing with the drawbridge there. I guess this guy is hiding a bit in ambush if you have been playing this entire game up to now blind, and if you did, congratulations on overcoming your disability. This guy here is far more difficult, obviously, but again, I fail to see now how he would actually ambush you. Also, man, my defenses are pretty good, huh? I don't like fighting these guys. They are gigantic damage sponges. You can see that even with the hammer and a charged R2 Alpha Strike, it took quite a bit to take him down. And what this basically means, if you fight them with a normal quote-unquote weapon, it takes forever, and you have to dodge their rather nasty swings. They can knock you off stuff, and it's just not that fun. It is one of these enemies which I've talked about before, I think, as kind of a mini boss around every corner design, which is very prevalent in the DLCs, but even in the main game it kind of rears its ugly head occasionally, and situations like this can happen where you're just like, okay, I guess I have to deal with this guy now. Not so much here, because obviously he was very optional to fight, didn't even try to start any shit with me. But it can crop up later, for sure, a little more in your face, I guess, and then it is rather annoying. Anyway, I really like this part here, because obviously, if you have an Archdragon peak, you also have an Archdragon. Wow, that is actually a lot of damage. Frostbite, of course, but I guess if I wanted to, I could solely kill him with frostbite damage, which is kind of insane. Like, can I actually defrostbite him and then... Ah, no, okay, it's just the head. That's still pretty crazy. Nope. So, anyway, what you really do not want to do is actually stick around and try to fight him, which is very obvious due to the fact that you're not doing much damage at all to him, unless you happen to hit the head, which might give you the wrong impression, I guess. What you instead should do is run. That is a very good idea, running away from him, which will lead you into enemies, which will lead you to panic a bit, probably. But this is 1000% intended by the game, obviously. Though I have found out rather quickly that you're super safe if you're standing here, because this guy really doesn't know how to aim. And usually this takes care of the enemies in the next room rather nicely. Yeah, he's really bad at aiming, huh? You can see that this is definitely tuned to be an endgame area if an R2 plus Frostbite does not actually kill an enemy. Gonna give him one more breathe and then let's go on. I hope the music isn't too loud. Oops. One more. Geometry, my worst enemy. Gotta say, I really like how nice the flames look now. Ah, yeah, right, it didn't activate the enemies beforehand. What you can absolutely do, and probably should, is lure these guys out and run back and let him roast them for you. Obviously not what I'm doing right now. Brilliant. But I'm not used to fighting them at all. I just easily run past them. Jesus, can I get out any attack? Wow, that was really annoying now. Oh, I'm sorry for the poor performance. I kept wanting to do my Perseverance, but it wouldn't let me, because they just apparently have a flurry of 3 billion attacks, which I usually, as I said, avoid by running past them. But I guess that's not going to happen this time. Anyway, let's speed up the process a little bit and just, again, run there and then let the dragon roast them, which is something which I should have done immediately. But again, in the name of showing things off, it's not so easy to do that in this game. Oop. Yeah, really, that's crazy. Could make a challenge out of this. Alas, I shan't. So, he's so far away, I'm just gonna go into here. Get the zones, activate these guys. Run back. Either lure them out here where it's safe, or let the dragon take care of things. Really is bad at this job. Or is that fire hitbox actually generous in your favor? Who knows? In most other games this would linger a lot. Wow, this guy's having a bad time. I think the dragon might also breathe through here, which is a credible threat if you weren't so slow. I like the set piece a lot, but the dragon isn't adding that much, I think. My biggest issue is probably just if you want to go past here at all, you do have some sense of urgency due to the fire, and I guess could hit you here and there. But if you rush too much, then you activate too many enemies at the same time, then you're gonna have a really bad time. But probably I'm just going to go through here relatively relaxed, because I know that it is not that big of a problem. You can get all of these enticing side areas. Exploring here is really fun and really profitable. I mean, I've gotten a lot of chunks already, which will get my spear up to +9, no problem. As I said, it's just the problem the first time around, because the enemies are actually rather difficult, as you can see, even in my pretty well-rounded state at the moment, with a focus on all the good stats. It's not actually all that easy. These guys here are designed to ambush you a lot as well, and again, with hitting you all the time, it is really annoying. Wow, I never noticed how just annoying they could be if I depend on my very slow weapon swings to even start up at all. And usually if you dodge them, it's not that big of an issue. But anyway, if you run through here, then the one guy will get delayed, fall down behind you, and they can pincer attack you something fierce, which is not a fun thing to happen. Especially the dagger guys are gigantic sons of bitches, and you really have to devise a good strategy against them. If two of them attack you at the same time, the game often forces these kinds of situations, then you better think on your feet real fast. You can run through here, avoid them for a bit, but eventually they might catch up with you if you're still running. And as you might have noticed by now, the dragon has stopped attacking us at all, so you can't really lure them into the fire anymore. Which would have been fun if you could do this more, and I must admit it was a little bit disappointing when I first reached this point. I was still a little panicked, what with the dragon fire probably following me everywhere whenever I'm out in the open, but it's just not true, it never happens. This guy here is also a giant pain in the ass for the aforementioned reasons of being a huge guy you just have to deal with, and yeah, he deals a lot of damage. And his swings are super delayed. Finally, I actually got a stagger on enemy, beside myself with excitement. Do something. Yes. Oh yeah, combo, right. What a combo that is. There we go. I mean, again, the hammer is a huge problem solver, but you can see how this can easily turn into a big problem if you take a long time to deal with him. I think I don't see a weapon peeking out there. guy is too smart for me. I admit it, I'm sorry. I usually miss these chunks because I run past all of this nonsense here, especially the X guy. But again, a big hammer gives me a lot of confidence. Oh yeah, and I keep forgetting these 12 lightning bolts, which, yeah, amazing, I know. You can just keep running towards the bridge as well, but it's probably a good idea to circle around here. Just to show you the lay of the land a bit more, this is where this leads up to from the back, and you can also go up from the front up here, which will get you in trouble with this guy and probably the X guy, so that is also not advisable. Oh yeah, and this guy, don't forget about this guy. But this way we eliminate all opposition coming from behind. So that is nice. In the future, if I die from now, which can happen because the next part is also kind of a bitch, then I will just continue running past through these guys, it's just more consistent. Anyway, here you have another classic ranged attack situation, and now the dragon notices you again. So what you probably want to do is wait for this guy to catch up, and so you can deal with him then in the safety position, with one caveat being that he's also ranged. And that is a huge problem because he's blatantly unfair. See? This is nonsense, and I feel absolutely justified in calling this enemy a complete bullshit, because he can 1000% wall hack you and with no qualms and a clear conscience, and I fail to see how this is in any way fair. And now he has lost interest, which is brilliant, and he is one of the big guys, so that means that he will also take ages to kill again. So I don't think that I ever really fought him fairly. It's just realizing that this will be a giant pain in the butt. Oh my god, he even has a grab attack. I didn't know that. What the hell? Yeesh. So you probably want to force him into melee, but even then, it's kind of a crapshoot, as you could see. For sure, for me at the very least, one of the worst enemies in the game. It's just absolutely not fun to fight. And as I said, even if you try to be a little quirky with leading him away, probably a good idea, you know, then he just gets super duper unfair. And, oh yeah, okay, thank you, very good. And you just start getting hit through walls all the time. Why isn't he dead? I thought I heard the kill sound. Oh well, let's just leave. But yeah, once you reach this ladder, you're in the clear. I don't think that anything bad can happen up here. Watch me get killed, because I just said that. Oh yeah, I guess if you dawdle, then you can still get hit by the fireballs from below. But you can now absolutely book it, and you're safe. Can even get the items in quiet. And now to deal with our dragon situation. Have to wait for him to finish this animation. And hopefully he doesn't start up a new one, because you have to... Brilliant! Land a plunging attack on his head. I don't think this has ever happened to me, but I've seen a lot of people complain, and well, now I get it. It's great that I can show this off live, that this can happen, which is obviously also nonsense. As I said, I like the set piece. It's a very good idea. It's not super well executed. Now, to show off my running past tactic, which probably will cost me all my souls because I fail. But let's see. I mean, it's not much of a tactic, granted. His tail can definitely hit you here. For a boss you're not supposed to fight, he actually has quite a lot of move sets to kind of fuck you over a bit. Maybe it was the wrong time to heal, maybe it was not. For now, the enemies are thankfully melee only, except for this one asshole, of course. Including these guys here, but here you really want to work quickly because they keep falling down behind you. This guy here will always lunge out, he's programmed to do that. Ignore the guys on the bridge, circle around this guy here, and now the big crapshoot comes, which is what this guy will do. Going for a ranged attack if you're not in range, wonderful. Now he will hit you from behind, very probably. That happens all the time because he's an asshole. Make sure that you have almost full stamina once you reach the ladder so you can't get hit off the ladder. And there we go, didn't even get hit in the final part, that's very nice. Holy shit, that was a close one. But it's somewhat generous regardless, so it's nice anyway. It's a good thing that the hitbox here is not all encompassing. I've played a bit of Demon Souls, as I've said, and it's far worse there, so should count my blessings, I guess, but this is not in fact Demon Souls. Okay, let's do it now. Yeah, just should have waited a bit more, aligned myself, but it's a little stupid nonetheless that you can fail this so easily, I think. Goodbye, Ancient Wyvern. Though, if it works, it works. The first time for me it did work, and it felt brilliant. Like one-hitting the dragon, watching his health bar vanish, it's great. If this set piece succeeds, it's awesome. If it doesn't, and I can understand, as I've just shown off, if it doesn't for other people, then it's just kind of sad and you feel a little betrayed. And maybe if it fails the first time, you think that you're doing something wrong. Not a good time. Anyway, I should probably spend all of these souls, huh? Especially because here is Invasion Central. Going further on here is probably not a good idea without spending the souls. I must admit I'm also a little weirded out by the teleport, but they probably figured that it didn't want people to have to run the gauntlet again, especially in my case when all the enemies are not dead, because I ran past them. They couldn't really figure out how to do a plunging attack to the beginning of the area, how to reconcile that with the player then not being at the bottom of the area, I guess. So they just teleport you to somewhere else. Which is kind of a cop-out, but I mean it's better than me being stranded down there, so okay, it's fine. Alright, I completely forgot that I had Dancer armor available. All of this other stuff, let's do it like this, and another 10,000, there you go. I really want to wear the Dancer armor now, this should complement my look rather nicely. Yeah, it's beautiful, it's so sleek. And it fits rather well with Ward's weapon, which makes perfect sense because, you know, they are both Outriders. Oh, now the blue leggings don't, the yellow leggings don't fit. Rectify that. Something a little more bulky. Oh no, God no. This is fine. With bulky I meant armored. I don't know, this makes my ass look fat. Which is good. Can afford these. Looks awful. Better. Okay. There we go. Good thing I know where to put my levels, huh? So, I want to return to the start though for at least one item which I miss. I didn't know about that until I read up on which rings to get. For the achievement, missed it until New Game Plus, which is not an issue. You can still get it there. It's also not super useful, I think. I'm not super sure if I've seen it in use in PvP or not. I believe that... no, I don't actually know. I shouldn't talk about it without knowing the stuff, but it might get its bonuses cut anyway. I'm talking about the Ring of Steel Protection, which is located down here, though not within these items. This guy will probably demonstrate. It's here, though I wouldn't know why he would roll there. Maybe the dragon was annoying him. Anyway, it's here. Rather well hidden. I appreciate it. I appreciate the general look of this area, like the scaffolding. It looks like it was being worked on before a dragon invaded, or they tried to rebuild something. it's rather interesting. Um, I think I got most of the other optional stuff here. So let's return. I have billions of homeward bones. I should just use them. And go up again. I do know that I missed at least one item on the scaffolding, because you know you either get that or you kill the dragon. And I know where my priorities are if I already made it up there, but fortunately you can go back easily, which you're going to see in a second. Um, because I was stopped from running out of the boss area, I guess, by a fog wall last time, and this is it. This is the fog wall here, and this is the last guy who was an obstacle last time. But first we have to deal with this fun dude here. Yeah, frostbite, wonderful. These guys are pretty tough to fight. Not only because they have help from a ranged enemy, but generally because... Why did I not two-hand? Anyway, but because they have a lot of poise, they roll a lot and are thus not super easy to hit, and they deal a lot of damage. So these guys here summon them. They can also summon to other people, but I've never seen them summon anything but the Drakeblood Knight immediately. Oh, they summoned another one, great. Who will give you a guaranteed Drakeblood Greatsword drop, which is fun, except for the part where it is split damage, so it is actually not good. Sad, because it was really great in Dark Souls 2, though I've gotten a bit over my Greatsword usage, as I've said before, I think. They are fine weapons, you can't go wrong with them, but on the other hand, they are not exciting in the slightest, especially after the 5th time or so where you used one and it's like, no, this time it has a self buff. It's like, yeah, but it still has the same boring old moveset. This is this shortcut, and as I said, it's barely a shortcut. Why would you use this? There is a bonfire right next to it. It makes absolutely no sense unless you really, really want to sneak up on the Snake Summoner and kill him before he can summon any of the Drakeblood Knights. But he can outrun those, so like whatever. It doesn't offer anything, I think. So we're just gonna ignore it for now. We won't ignore, however, is this fun little part here, which is a relatively obvious ambush, but I mean, good for him to make the effort to point it out. Ugh, walls. Nope, I have Perseverance. It's good that this level is forcing me to use it more often though, because I keep forgetting that I have it when you can just one-hit things. But it is genuinely incredibly useful. Because everything here is dragons, we of course also get a lot of dragon scales, which suits me just fine because I've got a hammer that needs even more upgrading. And as we're going to find out, it's also going to give us even more good fun upgrading stuff. So, going outside again. This is overlooking the path we took just now. Down here is the exit which I pointed out with the final obstacle before the ladder, which is leading up to the scaffolding here. And this is to the way to the dragon. I like to remind myself when I play these games for the first time of these interconnectivities, because I tend to get lost relatively easily. It was worse before. I gotten more used to video game maps in general, and I've worked on my sense and orientation in real life as well. I think this is more helpful than working on it in video games, but they go hand in hand. And now I don't get lost as much anymore. Also helps if you play the game a lot. So I sincerely hope that there is action item here, otherwise I've been doing this for nothing, and I think I just did. I keep thinking that there is an item here, and I keep misremembering it because it is such an obvious path to take. Not obvious, but it is a path that was designed to be taken with minimal fall damage and such. You don't get anything for it. It seems like it would be tailor-made to hide a secret on the way down, but maybe they rejiggered this area late in development or something and it was intended as kind of a shortcut? But I can't fathom how exactly it would work. So I'm left a bit baffled because there is no reason to return there, you know? Why would you ever do that? As I've just shown off. By the way, while we're here, as this is heavy PvP area, we should put on the Blade of the Dark Moon, try and get something. So we have another summon here, which we have to deal with in a second. First take out the summoner itself, of course. It's of course a nasty downside, but I mean that guy was going to come up anyway. We have one more item to get downstairs, but you know, before we do that, hope they're not activated and coming for me right now, because getting them in the back while we are exploring here is not a good experience. Probably fine. This is one more path to take, which I haven't yet, introducing us to a new enemy, which we will see much more of later on, so I'm not going to bother too much. They can take a lot of punishment. They can also drop both Twinkling Titanites and Titanite scales, which means that now I could start farming for them, and also very soon I will be able to just buy them for 13k, which is great. And this is where all of my endgame money usually goes. This is just another path downstairs, which you can overlook, I guess. So where is the summon now? I don't know, maybe they will sneak up on me. There is another somewhat hidden part where you can use Path of the Dragon here. Didn't realize that for a while too until I looked up rings. It's not like it's super useful. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Call back to Dark Souls 1. This is the ring that makes you take double damage from everything. I guess if you want to make this like there he is, like a difficulty selections in a mid-2000s terribly designed FPS. Spacing, my dude. Let's not fuck around with this. Let's not fuck around with this. Let's not fuck around with this. See, he has quite the variety of attacks. That almost got me. No, seriously, they are kind of a pain to deal with, but the hammer obviously shits all over NPCs like it's his main cause in life. Interesting area here, and with interesting I mean there's a lot of dead ends. It always seems like there should be more stuff hidden. It's not, but I keep going into these corners every time anyway, because, you know, I figure there is something here. Another weird item placement, which is like, doesn't have a corpse associated. It's the Dragon Slayer spear. So it does have a guy. Ah, cool. A guy associated with him, Ornstein, of course. But I don't exactly know what it's doing here, except this is the dragon thing, I guess, and there is another thing that is kind of related to Ornstein, but it's just inside the grating because they had to have it in this game, I guess. Kind of weird. Well, let's see if we can't help out someone here. Oh, it's not here actually. It's somewhere completely different. Wow. Um, Good job. Wow, I actually get it for free. Awesome. Yeah, this seems like a clusterfuck. Again, not that I need the proofs, but guess it can work out like that. Other people would be happy to be so lucky. Continuing on. This corridor could be hard if you were not used to fighting these guys yet. If there weren't such quite obvious ambushes. If this guy was one with daggers because they're harder. And if it wasn't shield guys here as your main obstacle, because the shield guys are the easiest to deal with. By a large margin. You only really have to check for extra ambushes and then you can just, you know, kill them. Ah, to me. First you fuck off. Oh hi. Welcome. Yeah, let's do it a little bit more one-on-one style. Away from that guy. Okay, go on. Oh, hope this is not my internet. I guess we both have hyper armor weapons, but do you really want to trade with this? Oh, he evaded the frostbite. That's sad. Ah, come on. This is just boring if you both heal. And you know that I can heal more often than you? wow. Yeah, something is fucky with the internet. Ugh. Okay, so you don't want a normal duo, then why do you bow then? Don't get it. Yeah, this is a little bit fucky. I mean, I guess I apologize, but on the other hand, who cares? Catch! Now this is lag prediction. I basically knew that he was going to be here, judging from how he moved before. Yeah, try to lure me into the other enemies. Be a little lame. I mean, it's his job as an invader, I guess. It's okay, but, you know. It's not like I haven't done this before a million times. I was just like, is the enemy lagging now? I think he's out of Estus. No, he's not actually. This is a bit more action-packed, which is fine. Guess he is enhancing my experience. But now we have this problem here. Fuck's sake. Didn't realize that he would aggro this quickly. Let's just not. Wheesh. That was a close one. Yeah, these guys are absolute sons of bitches, as I've said multiple times before. So, where is the invader? Is he going to come up the ladder? Can he come up here? No, you can't. Can't get a beat. Okay, can I snipe the other dudes, or have they actually de-aggroed now? You wanna try something? Probably should have left him there. Let's do it like this. Don't need this for the moment. Silver cat. Important. Can stay here, I guess. You know what? Let's have a little bit more fun. He's close enough to aggro them. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Okay. This is how you use a seed of a tree of a giant. Okay, whatever then. Fuck this. Really do not like dealing with the aches guys, so I always just book it here. If I remember correctly, he will de-aggro very soon. Ugh. Very soon. Thanks. I think this this crystal lizard will basically always take care of himself. Very soon. No? Fuck with the aggro a bit too much. Ugh. Okay then. Ah, god. Fucking damn it. Then let's do it like this, I guess. Wow! Whew. I'm making this rather tense, don't I? Say thank you, Simon, for providing me with an interesting experience. Yeah. Have I mentioned that I really don't like fighting these guys either? It's really hard to stun lock them, if not downright impossible. They don't take a lot of damage from the hammer, even, you know. and they can just go into their role whenever they want to. And it doesn't even deal that much damage. The bigger damage they deal from their fire attack. And it's not fun at all because you keep getting knocked over. For fuck's sake. See, this is just... It's so annoying. It's so insanely annoying. And then you basically wait for them to do the fire attack and then come from behind, but it's just like, ugh. Not fun. It's just not fun, and again, there are just some enemies in this game which are just not fun. And this is basically my biggest problem I have. I always try to do this jump, like to be a cool boy. You can do it, it's relatively easy if you jump from here. But one more try. Ah, wonderful. You can come from outside. It's no biggie. So it's completely pointless. The very first time I was like, I have to absolutely make this jump. This is probably going to be good shit here, but you don't have to make this jump. X guy? X guy. Okay. So if I weren't so rudely interrupted by the X guy, you see one of those stone lizards up here. If you go for it, then one of the other stone lizards ambushes you from here. Hello up there. And this is basically what happened but in Overdrive. Also, there is a dragon here. Hello, dragon. You can kill him. You should probably kill him. He gives you good shit, but it's super annoying. Insanely so, especially considering that these guys are here and you probably want to take them out, all of them, before you deal with that guy. And the next bonfire is a little bit cumbersome, so I say fuck all of this garbage and just run past. And I do him at some point in the future. It's always when I have a plus 12 weapon, then I come back here and deal with him. Maybe, or maybe I don't, because whatever. So who did he summon? Ricard, wonderful. A bit of a Sense Fortress callback. This is a guy who uses Ricard's rapier. Very effectively, as one can see. He can kill you super easily. This area it's a bit of a dragon homage, so they have dragon associated stuff, but it's also kind of a repository for all the other stuff we didn't really know where to put. This one here I appreciate, because the message is just ominous enough that I really didn't want to pull this lever for quite a while, because it reminded me a lot of the lever that frees Navlan in, if that's his name, in Dark Souls 2. The guy who keeps invading you if you pull the lever, and there is nothing positive from pulling his lever. Like, there is no trade-off or anything. If you pull the lever, then you fucked up, and he will tell you in no uncertain terms that you fucked up and you should probably kill him right now before he starts invading you and being a gigantic pain in the ass. But fortunately this is not the case here. It's rather effective. I like it. So we're almost to 50 strength, huh? Almost ready to one-hand the thugs. We're gonna be interested to see how it looks like in action then. It's definitely going to be better than using the always buy helmets. Than using it two-handed exclusively. If it's going to be good, interesting enough for me, well, we'll see. We'll see. For now, even more exploration. Yeah, definitely go to the Great Belfry. This is the bonfire where you would farm a certain rare drop from. I'm going to quickly show you the farming route, which is incredibly difficult. That's the farming route. How did he not get killed? Anyway, they have a very rare chance to drop the Mendicant Staff, which has, as far as I know, absolutely no special properties whatsoever. It's just a staff, which isn't good. It raises the souls you get. So I guess you could put that on your back if you're a dedicated farmer of souls. which is relatively pointless. Um, because I'm pretty sure the game supplies you with enough of them to last you, but if you care for it, I guess that is a good thing to do. A far more important thing is that only oh, summons Hawkwood, right? You know what? Let's summon him. Only if you have the stuff, you can get from the crows Solaire's shield, which is a non-existing connection. I wouldn't even call it tenuous. It's just like you have to get this insanely rare drop, and then you get a shield with the sun on it. Amazing. And I don't get it. It's one of these things which I just absolutely do not get. It's referring to the texture, huh? Because I always keep thinking that, yeah, this is an item which lies here, but it's not. It's just how it looks like. Ah, yeah. It's just the things you deal with. There's a rather pointless ember here, and this one is completely blocked off until you kill the boss of this area. It's just meant to entice you to basically tell you, hey, there is an actual area down there. You could get to that, but not yet, I guess. Anyway, even if you have Hawkwood with you, although he is okay at distracting people, I guess, this courtyard area can be quite the pain to deal with. Not just for the combo of these two guys, but for the combo of this guy and the other guy and the next guy, and most of these are unfun guys, like the Axe guy and the Chain Axe guy, and yeah, it's not cool. I don't have fun here, but I guess Hawkwood alleviates the problem I have with it a little bit. But still, it's really not great design in my opinion, though I guess it is meant as somewhat of a final gauntlet, which you have to overcome before you can get what is on top here. And I'm pretty sure that they fully intend for you to summon Hawkwood here, because otherwise you would have no clue why he would be associated with the story of this place in any way. And why he would leave you another clue to his future location somewhere else. Which we're going to get to once we're done with this. Weird, I thought he frostbite after the first hit. Great, two of them at the same time. Amazing. Hawkwood, please do a bit for your money, which I don't pay you. He's still not dead. Again, I really appreciate that you really don't know where this weapon is going to end up. It has shit for hitboxes, seriously. I appreciate that the L2 attack of the weapon art, this is what I was looking for, of the spear is actually exactly as powerful as a normal poke, with a few differences in moveset, I guess, or counter damage or whatever. It's great. I love it. This is not going to work out for you, Markwood. I really should not keep continuing to push these off, but because I can drop good stuff, but them's the breaks, I guess. I don't know why it is here. Maybe it activates if you go too far into this direction, but there is nothing here either, so hooray for pointless empty corners. Maybe it's meant to teach you that on the opposite side there is something, which is true, but we'll get to that when we get to that. First, let's finish off this part of the gauntlet. I think he's actually coded to run for this on his own, to basically lead you up to here. Much like the rest of the area, it is a little janky. I get what they were going for, and sometimes it works. I think this time it worked actually, and he actually shows you what to do here, so that is it's very nice. They probably really intended for you to 1000% do this with Hawkwood and get the clue from him here. If you haven't figured it out, you have to have figured it out, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But yeah, anyway, that you have to do it again, I guess, to get the final reward for coming here. And there is one more reward in form of an optional boss in an optional area, of course. Cross that bridge in another few minutes. And there is one more thing, of course, which we're also going to get to in a second after we have explored here. do you want to do a fire attack or something? That would be super cool. Yes, wonderful, thank you. You want to do a longer fire attack next time? That would be super cool. And stop hitting me. Awesome. This is the actual reason why I go here. This is one of the best items in the entire game. The Dragon Chase's Ashes allows you to buy all upgrade materials, except for slabs. All of them. Titanite scales, twinkling titanites, and chunks. This is wonderful, and you always should get this ASAP if you're playing the game for the second time. If you can deal with this area, then it is a super good idea to get this as soon as you can, because then you can dump your excess souls into goodbye, into getting upgrade materials. Then you can no longer have to worry about gimping yourself because you focus too much on one weapon which turns out to not be ideal for you and your playstyle, or maybe it's just actual crap, I don't know. There are some weapons like this. Because with enough souls, I guess this is an argument for farming for souls in some points, you can just alleviate any of this unless you took the weapon to +10. You can get as many +9 weapons as you want to here. I really need to put on some different pants. They're annoying me by how brown they are. Oh, this allows our hips to show. Nice. I mean, they're also really brown, but wonderful. This was designed to go with a blue set anyway, so cool. Anyway, here's Havel in another dragon affiliated, I guess, but ultimately somewhat pointless homage. Though you really gotta appreciate what he brings to the table. And that is the classic Havel experience of being flattened into a fine paste. He's a dick in this game. Probably more so than in Dark Souls 1, to be quite honest. I really don't like fighting him because he takes for fucking ever, and he has like no downtime to him. The only thing he does give you is if he jumps back like this, you can very easily backstab him with absolute impunity. And he will keep trying for that if I'm lucky. Yes, wonderful. This was a close one. I'll keep trying for it. Now I'm gonna let him do it. And now he's even more invincible. That is the weapon art of his shield. And you really do not want to fuck with him in this state. And don't think that you can punish his jump attacks easily. You can't. Basically, you just really want to wait for his protection to go away. And then hit him after the jump attack is finished, because, you know... Oh, come on, just fucking die. As you could see from this experience, you never should underestimate the Rock. Fortunately, I deal quite a lot of damage, but just imagine poking him very slowly. Usually what I do is just fish for parries. It's relatively easy. I mean, you can get punished severely if you fuck up, but them's the breaks, I guess, when dealing with Havel. At least it makes the fight go a little bit quicker. Anyway, Titanite Slab, +10 or +5 weapon. Amazing. This is a very good reward, obviously. And you can run for it as soon as you get up here at all. And it's probably a good idea to do that. And also, while I was thinking if I should use Mouse Hammer, I was thinking maybe I should just use the Dragon Tooth, because, you know, it's the Dragon Tooth, it's amazing, it's cool. This will get me back down to the end of the path where the dragon was breathing fire. And this one here leads to an actual item, which is Great Magic Barrier, which is also associated with Havel. Let's just, you know, not make any dumb mistakes. Oh, this actually dealt a lot of damage. Maybe I should stop hitting them with strike damage then. Ah, the hammer can't go wrong. Anyway, I think this is also how you access the item from the window? No? No. How do you then? So talking out my ass. Ah, this is how you access the item from the window. Like so, just like that. It's not hard. Anyway, now this is concluded. Let's take a quick look at our latest prize, which would be this. The Dragon Tooth is very heavy, heavier than Wards, which says a lot. It's not as heavy as Mouse Hammer. It increases, as far as I know, magic and fire resistance. Yes, by a relatively substantial amount even. Will obviously get a lot of strength scaling, and only that. We can actually one-hand that already. Wow, I thought it would take more strength for sure. Has a lot of durability. It also has perseverance. Let's check out if it has a different moveset. The handle almost looks wimpy in comparison to what we're used to. Huh? This is an overhead smash. Overhead smash as well. Charge attack. Same here. Yeah, I fear it has exactly the same moveset as Ward, so there is no real reason to switch, even though it looks awesome. I haven't really used the Dragon Tooth in any Dark Souls game because you tend to get it so late that I usually have settled onto a different hammer. It's rather long. It might alleviate some of the problems I usually have with weapon range. Takes twinklings, so we have those. Oh, let's do this before we end this episode. Maybe with a look at the boss? Oh, maybe. Let's see. Will I get summoned? It's a little too late now. Probably won't work out. But yeah, there is no real reason to switch from Vord to Dragon Tooth because Dragon Tooth doesn't have Frostbite, which makes Vord probably just better. The resistances I don't think are good at all. Like, just not useful in most cases. Which is kind of a crying shame, but I guess it's a nice bonus if you're hellbent on using it anyway. Which I could be, if you watch this. Again, I'm open for suggestions. Tell me it would be great if you use this and this weapon instead of your boring ass Ward's hammer. I always get a little annoyed if people don't switch up their weapons in Let's Plays, but I started this smashy path, and this is one problem I sometimes have with Dark Souls weapons. Once you have already committed to one, it's really hard to go back. Yeah, just gonna show this off real quick. You can now buy for 20k, okay, but you can buy as many Titan Scales and Twinkling Titanites and Titan Check. These ones are 13k as you want, and that's just great. That's super amazing, and they really should have given you this a little bit earlier, I think, because it's still insanely expensive. If someone really wants to devote the time to farm up all of this, more power to them. I'd much rather spend all of this time getting good at a boss for fear of invoking that ancient incantation. Anyway, still have some left. So do I want to upgrade now? Let's stick with it for now, and I will think about this a little bit longer. Get rid of my souls to buy. What should I buy for 10k? Let's finish up this set.
Ashen one.
Okay. Good. One look at the boss. I'm maybe a little bit underleveled. 77 is not that high, though my damage should be fine. Though of course the hammer is not fully upgraded yet. It's +3, right? Could easily take it to +4 again. I will think about it some more, though I don't know where else I would put my scales, to be quite honest. Doesn't matter too much. Let's pull this fucking lever and just see what happens, shall we? The weather turns bad. Spoilers. Anyway, there's not that much to this cutscene except that it's super ominous, you know? You know how it is. Now, Fog Wall has shown up here. What could that mean? Maybe a boss. I don't know. Huh? What the? The fuck? Uh, Amazing. Guys, thank you very much for your attention.